It's okay.
Live.
All right, I'd like to call the
It would be February 23rd, 2022.
February 23rd Commerce Airport Park Commission meeting to order. First of all, pledge of allegiance. Mr. Tanoga. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is roll call. Chairman Moran is excused. He's coming a little late. Mr. Raybell is excused. Mann's here. Filarski, excused. Hornby.
Here.
Tanoga. Here. Porcarelli.
Here.
Thanks, guys. Additions and deletions to the agenda. We are going to delete the minutes of January 26, 2022 regular meeting and the minutes of January 26, 2022 closed meeting. Next is discussion items. Carl and the bike path.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Madam, gentlemen of the Commission. Carl Bloetscher. I am the trustee liaison to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission. I have passed out to each of you an email that was sent back on January 6th. You should have had a copy of it. I provide that for your review and refresh your memory today, and also as an opportunity to provide an update. Page 1 consists of two parts. One is the proposal, and the second is on the grant application. And page 2 consists of an overhead map of the proposed trail. And with the overhead, you will note we have East River Road that runs along a maintenance road that is on the west side of the fence, marking the perimeter of the very east end of the airport. On this map, the far right side is the north, the far south side is the south, and that butts up onto Gibraltar Bay. And your very, very east runway parallels the maintenance road with a few degrees of separation there, but quite a bit of separation from a lineal perspective. I'm going to keep that on the Elmo, and so this way everybody has an idea exactly what we're talking about. The proposal is very simple, very easy to understand. The black line denotes where we want to put a soft trail for bicycle pedestrian use. I'm assuming everybody here is familiar with how difficult it is to safely walk and bicycle East River. If we look at the far left, which would be the southeast corner, that is the Albemarle Boat Club, and just across the street from that is the Detroit River International Wildlife Refuge. Again, Gibraltar Bay to the immediate left or south of that. And then the dark circle, it is right here, is the old quarry that is filled in. And we have the access road that runs from East River into that parking space where you can get out, exercise your dog, exercise your legs, and enjoy nature. The proposal is for us to extend the path from the very northeast corner, which is here on the map. Presently, the Grow Road section of the Groseal bicycle path runs generally east-west, terminates at the corner of East River and Grow Road. To go to the Gibraltar Bay Wildlife Unit, people either have to leave the path and walk or try and bicycle along East River. There are limited sight distances. There are a number of problems with changes in grade and elevation, and it frankly is not a very safe way to get from the rest of the bike path system down to what is considered by some, and certainly John Hardick has been involved with Fish and Wildlife, would describe that as one of the gems of the Detroit River, and that is Gibraltar Bay. The idea is that we would take the existing maintenance road, again highlighted in the dark black, and move or install a fence to the west of that. That fence would meet FAA regulations, and it would run from the corner of Grow Road and East River along the maintenance road, paralleling East River, down to the existing gate entryway into the Wildlife Center. It is approximately 3,000 feet that we are looking to build this soft path on. And what that means is we're going to need to install a fence along the west side of this road. 3,000 feet doesn't take us all the way down there because there is an existing fence with a gate that we can access and use to end the fence there, and which is right approximately about here where my index finger is. And there would be a gate here to allow continued access to your beacon, radio beacon, as I understand is there. And we would have a second access approximately right here so that the maintenance vehicles would easily traverse the bike path through the fence and into the area next to the runway. The idea is that we would start this project hopefully later this spring or early summer. As you'll note from the proposal before you, we do have a grant application into the Ralph Wilson Fund. Ralph Wilson was a local boy, you may recall, that did very well and bought the Buffalo Bills. And he has a trust fund that was created upon his death where the Buffalo Bills would be sold, and the net proceeds would then be used to fund bicycle, sidewalk, pedestrian pathways in southeast Michigan. The idea of having a winning football team in Detroit might be a little strange to some of us, but his team was sold for well over $1 billion. And one of the provisions in that trust fund is that it has to be completely exhausted by within 20 years. So we have an application in. You will note in the materials that I passed out, that application will be considered and passed upon roughly the first week of April. We do not know where we stand, although the administrator, Ralph Y. Woody, was contacted. We ran everything by him. The application is good, and they are looking at reviewing it. And frankly, from all of the information I have, it appears to be right in the ballpark of what they would want to do. The grant application is for a total of $50,000. That's the maximum that we can do. The project, as I've stated in the proposal, is ballparked at around $70,000 to $75,000. I want to express and emphasize that there will be no cost to the airport for any of this. There is not going to be any kind of question about us asking for you to provide funds for the completion of the path or for the maintenance. Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission has approximately $275,000 in its maintenance fund, and the maintenance on this will be as a soft trail, which consists largely of about 70 years of hard-packed gravel on the east end of the airport, and whatever else would be required in order to keep that up, occasionally dragging a line or even having gravel filled it in. It is anticipated that it will remain a soft trail, which means it's not asphalt or concrete, indefinitely. When we do have funds for that, then that would be something that future members of the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission would understand and look at. There is also grant money out there that can help us match the gap between, or breach the gap between the $50,000 and the anticipated $70,000. I have also been in contact with a family that is very interested in donating money to make this project possible. It will be in memoriam, unfortunately, and they have been very generous in terms of indicating what they want to do and what they support. I'm not going to mention any names right now, but it is a very, very generous gift. So with that being said, we do have a spec plan that has been passed on, and we have a bid for approximately $69,900. That has not changed. That went out almost 2 years ago. And the vendor seems to be very interested in maintaining that. And we are interested in putting in this trail by making a simple move, figuratively, of the fence some 40 or 50 feet from where it is currently to the west. And that would allow us to maintain a green buffer with the airport to the west and also a green buffer to East River on the east. Again, with several points of access by roads and the two gates that I've mentioned. There is, I think, support for this within the community from people that have approached me about this project. I come here tonight to indicate to you and emphasize again, not a single cent do we want from either the pilots or do we want from this commission. And finally, that this project would complete the link from the toll bridge on the bicycle pedestrian path that runs south almost 7 miles, as I understand it, 6 miles, to Grow Road and all the way down to the Gibraltar Center. That will also, the wildlife area, that will also allow for a link with what is known as the Iron Bell Trail, and that is a trail that is in various segments right now completed that will run from approximately Monroe County to Belle Isle, the Bell end of the Iron Bell Trail, up the center of the state of Michigan, crossing the Mackinac Bridge and going over to Iron Mountain, as I understand, and that's a distance of some 600 feet. So we are very hopeful that the fund will look at this and say that's a missing link. It will also allow us to connect with the Gibraltar, the main Gibraltar Bay Visitor Center, the John Dingell Center, just across the river from us. So it is anticipated we will have funds available in April if all goes well. If we do not, then we have a lot more hard work to do, but this is a doable project. In speaking with Mike Duker previously and with Janel MacNee, we are well outside of any kind of requirements the FAA or the pilots would have for landing out here. So we're not going to be infringing on any of your clearance areas. And with that being said, I want to conclude by indicating the reason I am here tonight. And as I noted in the final paragraph of the presentation, that we had the choice of either going ahead and making a presentation tonight without funding, or we had the choice of getting funding and in 2 months have to answer the questions of why we didn't tell anybody. So it may be a premature to put the cart or the bank before the horse, but I want to clear up any misconceptions so that this commission, members of the community, and the advisory group understand exactly what we're doing and why. So with that, does anybody have any questions? Joe? Anything? Greg?
Don't.
Mr. Tanova?
I think this is great. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Mr. Mans?
I have no issues. I think it's a great idea. I hope it works. We're missing a couple members, but I have a feeling they'd agree, but who knows? Any questions?
Have you had CNS weigh in on this so they get approval by MDOT?
I'm sorry.
I didn't
Dr.
hear that.
Glovis, would you like to come up?
CNS, the engineering firm that has to approve, they don't have to, but they're supposed to approve any alteration of the airport land.
We have not as of yet. The question is whether or not we have contacted CNS to approve any alteration of airport land. Dr. Glovis, the simple answer to that is no, and that again is getting the cart before the horse, to bring in the engineers and to have them tell us what we can do and we can't do. I think would probably be imprudent in terms of the dollars and cents. We did have CE Rains come in and take a look at this and ask them about making a hard trail. And one of the things that I've been concerned with as a trustee, and 5 years ago said that, first of all, do we need it, and is there a cheaper way of doing it? When we contacted CE Rains to do the 3,000 feet. They came in with a hard trail, a lot of landscaping, culverts, and everything that would make it first class, and that price came in around $400,000. So we decided that there's got to be a cheaper, easier, better way to do this, and the cheaper, easier, better way is to go ahead and work with a soft trail, and we're also sensitive about the environmental. There is a drain, right, there's a drain that runs right between the maintenance road and East River, so we could have looked at millings from either runways or asphalt or anything like that. That's not acceptable because the runoff from that would carry the chemicals, whether they're asphalt based or otherwise, carry it into the ditch, and then it runs out into Gibraltar Bay. Evening, Mr. Moran. Any questions? How are you?
Those darn trains. Sorry about that. Thanks, Mr. Mans, for taking over.
Do you have any questions? I believe that you've seen this email before.
I have, yep.
Including the picture.
Yep, nope,
And-
I don't have any questions. Does anybody else?
No, I think as long as the airport community agrees and there's no infliction on the flight paths and all that good stuff, then I think it's great.
I agree. I think it's good. Can't wait to get it done.
Good. Fingers crossed on that, and if the Buffalo Bills can come through for us, that would be absolutely
Next year.
Next year? I was 4 months old the last time the Lions won anything, and I have this recurring nightmare that I'm going to be gone before they win their next playoff game. So, if nobody has any questions, I conclude by thanking you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to address you gentlemen individually, airport manager, as well as the community and any of the members of the airport advisory group that are here.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Bloetscher.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
tonight.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
the
it.
presentation.
I'll turn the rest of the meeting over to the chairman, Mr. Moran.
So are we,
We are.
we're at taxiway A
We're at
update?
Taxiway A update.
Okay. We'll move on to discussion item number 2, which is a taxiway A update. Janelle?
So as you all are aware, the history of the taxiway design, the category that we fit in is a category that takes us as a proposed taxiway of 25 feet. I've been working side by side with CNS and MDOT. Last week, I was in Lansing. I met with CNS and I met with MDOT and had a discussion about the justification memo to justify us increasing the width of the taxiway to 35 feet versus the proposed 25 feet. We sat down, MDOT sat with CNS and myself, and we went through page by page the memo that CNS had drafted that sent over to MDOT and compared it to FAA standards in order to meet the qualifications for the TDP2. It looks really good. Obviously, they can't make any promises that we fit in this gray category of being able to qualify for a 35-foot runway. They came back, made a couple more recommendations, which was getting a written justification for the flight school, which I obtained from the flight school here and sent that over to CNS. Another memo letter that was written from one of the pilots that has one of the larger aircrafts, well, actually 2 of the pilots that have the larger aircrafts on the field, and we have sent those over to CNS. I don't know when we're going to get a response, but I know that the memo was being updated, and we should have it in by the end of this week back to MDOT, and then it will go up the powers to be. So that's
And
the update.
Janelle, prior to your meeting, was MDOT, did we know whether MDOT was in favor of our position or not?
MDOT understands they would like us to see us get a 35-foot runway is the moral of the story. They want us to have it. They understand our positioning. They understand our justification in order to have a 35-foot, excuse me, I said runway, a taxiway. So they are trying to help us in every way possible in order for us to make sure that we get that 35-foot taxiway. Does that answer your question, Ray?
Yes. Anybody have any questions or comments for Janelle? Mr. Rathel and I have spoken with Janelle a number of times during this process, and we've offered that if we need to go meet with MDOT or the FAA, that Mr. Rathel and or I will be happy to do that along with Janelle. So we're just waiting to see what happens next.
So as soon as I have an update on that, I will be sure to let everybody know. It's just in a holding pattern right now.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to our financial report for the January 2022 report. And everyone should have their report in front of them. And our budget for the year is $978,581, which to date we have revenue of $916,277, which is 93% of our budget. And our expenditures for the year are also budgeted at the same $978,681. Our year-to-date encumbrances and expenditures are $935,558, and that equals 85% of our expenditures for the year. We have our past due rent summary as of February 15th of $32,261. And as of the end of January, we have capital reserves of $498,269. So with that, Janelle, is there anything you want to point out in the financial report?
I think the only thing I want to point out is that the tie down, they've officially paid in full. So that's exciting.
Which item is that?
Under the past due
Yep.
rent summary. The second one down.
So it's,
This one for
Oh, yeah.
$735. That's all. I was excited. They were months behind. That's this plane out here that has the boot on it. That was a lot. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, everything is kind of status quo per our conversation last week or last month.
Chairman, I just, and I would apologize, I haven't really gotten into the schedules and looking to see exactly the accounting detail, but capital reserves, month to month, is quite a significant decline. Anything you can explain to help us understand that better?
yeah, do you know that why it went from 598,000 to 498,000 in the year? Did we make a payment for, was that a reimbursable that went to the state?
I don't know. I don't think I can answer that question. I don't know the answer to that question. I haven't been able to look into it enough.
Could you look into that and let us know? What was the difference for that? I had the same question, Mr. Hornby.
Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve and receive and file the financial report. Motion by Mr.
Support.
Mans.
Support.
Support by Mr. Tenova. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. Motion carries. Next item is our manager's report. Item number 1 is our accounts receivable. Janelle? You're good?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Mans?
accounts receivable is probably the worst I've ever seen it. Would you, am I wrong?
No. No, I agree. And I know, do you want to give us any update on Lattice?
So I can give an update on Lattice. As you know, that we started the eviction process. I spoke with the township attorney today. In order to move forward on evicting him, we are going to have to send the county sheriff out and we have to, basically physically get them out. And I was in the building today, and there's quite a bit of stuff in the building. It's gonna be a big thing to get them out of there. We have received no payments from them at all. There's been promises after promises, and we have not received anything since last discussed.
So you are moving forward, though, with getting them out through the
There-
sheriff's office or however we need to do that?
Correct, yes. So I was, had discussions with figuring out what people were gonna put together in order to get them out. And I don't know if that's gonna be township employees, if it's gonna be the maintenance staff, the police department, because the county does not have like a team of people currently, because the shortage of staff to help move that process along. So that is where we are with that.
Man,
Did-
How about, building 47? Any, word there?
Nope. We are in the process of, they have a dumpster, and they're getting their things and moving it out. We have been having discussions about opening up for showings again, so we can get potential tenants in there. So we are in the process of that. So we can hopefully get that rented out as soon as they're out. But that's gonna take time for them to clean that out and move forward on a process to get them out of there as well.
they are moving out, though. They're in the process of moving their,
Process of cleaning it out, speaking with whom they need to speak with to get their materials out of there, whether they're selling them off or whatever, but yeah, that process is moving forward.
and then hangar two
And then-
office. Can you give us
And
a,
then the hangar two office, they were in the process of trying to sell the company. They have not been successful in that, so they're gonna be getting their stuff and moving out as well. So,
okay. If you could give us an
Probably
update at our next meeting too, how this is all progressing.
I would do everything, in our power to protect ourselves as,
so I spoke with the township attorney, and we will be moving forward to do what we need to do. Does that answer the questions?
thank you.
questions for Janelle?
That covers it.
Mr. Porcarelli?
Janel, just one question, if I may ask, on the previous, when you're talking about the eviction.
You're talking about, ooh, that's really loud.
This second one back, not this one you said, but the previous one.
Building 47.
They'll have to be
Building
evicted.
63,
You said where the sheriffs will have to go in and evict them.
Yeah,
Can
63.
you tell me what kind of property is on the inside of the building, or inside of their area?
I mean, what business they're running out of there?
What's in the building?
What's-
Is there property in there?
That's correct, yeah, there's a sailboat. I mean, there's all kinds of things in there. There's a big sailboat. They make, model sailboats that, hang on the wall.
So there is property, if
There's quite a bit of property.
evicted, obviously, then everything's sealed up in the property, then becomes, who's doing the evicting too? Because they always take that property, believe it or not, they come with a crew. And the sheriffs, I kinda doubt this, but it's usually just two people, like you do in the 33rd District Court, they use the bailiffs. The bailiffs will come over and they'll remove everything from in there because it's Gross Seal Airport's property. And they'll remove that, and I don't wanna say, the term is put it to the curb, but that's what they do.
Yes,
So it can be sealed up, and then is just, I'm sure you know this, or I know you guys have dealt with this on the commission, but if there is, I can only explain it as expensive property, then it can't actually be auctioned or sold. But, you can ask Tom that, who seals it? If you're actually gonna go through the eviction where they ask the person, you either gotta come up with this amount of money like right now, or you must leave right now. And we seal everything up and it becomes a property, then it reverts back to Gross Seal Airport property.
so are you talking actually physically, like seal like pack them up in boxes? Is that what you
No, when
mean?
I say seal, it's
Oh,
like-
okay.
I'm talking about seal the business, itself. In other words, I don't know if this is a warehouse, and I apologize, I don't know if this is like an office building, a warehouse, just one of the ones that Duker redid. I don't know exactly which one it is, but when I say steel, you know, you obviously get the keys, you change the locks, and it reverts back to Grosse Ile Airport property, everything.
That was not what I understood. What I understood today was that, it has to, that's a good question. I can get clarification on that, but the way I understand it is there's no longer enough manpower through the county to go in to physically remove it. So, remove items.
Yeah,
So
that's
they're,
their policy, that's their policy. You see, bailiffs do that from 33rd when you evac. The bailiffs actually come with a crew, and they remove, so.
there is no crew anymore. That's what I'm saying. So the sheriff will stand there, and then I have to find a crew to go over there and physically remove all of the stuff.
When they leave, you can lock that up, change the locks, and you don't have to remove it right away.
It-
You won't have to scan.
Change the locks now.
That's what I'm trying to-
Yeah, I think it has to go out to the curb, if you may, for 24 hours in order for them to be able to retrieve their belongings. That was my understanding today.
Oh, okay, then they may, I apologize.
Like, I
They
think
changed
I
it.
think you
Once
have to
it's removed.
physically pick all of the stuff up, physically put it out into the parking area for 24 hours, and
If that's what, okay, if that's what Tom wants, or
Yeah.
that's what he stated,
that was my understanding
once it
today.
leaves that building, unfortunately, like a house,
Mm-hmm.
once it leaves the building and the bailiffs put it right out there, then everybody scatters.
So there will be an email going out, if it hadn't already went out, with a date that says you have to be out by this time. But I was there today, and it's packed full of stuff.
Oh,
And there's no signs of forward moving motion and them moving physically out of there.
okay, thanks.
Is everybody?
Yep.
is that answer?
Nope. As long as you're following legal
I'm-
advice and doing the things that
I am 100,
council says we can do and
I
should
am-
do,
I am
that's
100%.
best we can do. Anything else?
Thank you.
Hearing done, we'll move on to our action items. The first item is the approval of die ball lease. We have a resolution before us that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease between Dieball Sailing and the Grosse Ile Municipal Airport. Formal lease will be developed pending approval by the commission. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution, and that reads as follows. The resolution is a lease approval for an industrial space located at 27502 Meridian, Unit 100. Its total of square footage is 1,772 square feet, and Dieball Sailing is using this space to continue their successful business in sailing. The commencement date of the lease is January 3rd of this year, and it expires on January 3rd of 2023. It's for a one-year lease of $1,200 a month, which equals $14,400 a year, and the average rental rate is $8.13 a square foot. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mans. Support. Support by Mr. Hornby. Is there any discussion?
Thank you.
Any discussion? Yeah. Continues their revenue. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 2 of our action item is approval of AV Bio Innovation LLC lease. And we have another resolution in front of us that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves a lease between AV Bio Innovation LLC and the Grosse Ile Municipal Airport. A formal lease will be developed pending approval by the commission. Terms of the proposed lease agreement are listed in the history, purpose, and explanation section of this resolution. And that part of the resolution reads, this resolution is a lease approval for an office space on the north side of Hangar 2. Total is 295 square feet, and AV Bio Innovation LLC is utilizing the office space and assembling and packaging diagnostic kits. The commencement date of the lease is March 15th, 2022, with expiration of February 28th, 2023. The yearly rental rate is $3.54 a month, which equals $4,428 for the year, and that equals $14.40 a square foot. We'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mans, supported by Mr. Porcarelli. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Janelle, did we have another item that you wanted approval today for the wall?
It should be in your packet as action item number 3. Do you see that? Thanks, Chris.
We have an action item number 3, with a resolution that reads, based upon the recommendation from the Grosville Airport Commerce Park Manager, the Grosville Airport Commerce Park Commission hereby approves the construction of a separation wall between suites 100 and 200, and 100 is the lease that we just approved prior, that were left as one space in order to accommodate a current tenant. As of December 2021, this tenant has reduced his space to only suite 100. In order to accommodate future tenants, a separation wall is needed. And so we are approving the separation wall, awarding the construction of the wall to D&G Construction Company in the amount of $1,550. I will entertain a motion. Motion by Mr. Porcarelli, supported by Mr. Tenova. I think we talked about this at the last meeting. One of our tenants had 2 of the suite 100 and 200, and they reduced it to 1, so we have 1 remaining, and we need to put a wall up to officially separate the 2 units, and we already have someone for the unit, so. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Our next item is subcommittee reports. We have none tonight. Chairman's report, I have nothing new to report tonight, so I will open it up to public comment. Is there any public comment tonight? Any public comment? Hearing none, the next item is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Mans.
My favorite
supported by
motion.
Mr. Tenova to adjourn at 6:42. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries.